Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Green Room Podcast. I'm Matthew Brune, and joining me once again is my good friend, Colin Mitchell. Colin, how you doing on this Friday afternoon, Friday evening?
Trying to decide if you've ever called me a good friend before in your life.
You're a great friend. I'm sure I have at some point.
I don't think to my face, which is, it's
Just-
all right. I don't need to know what I'm worth. I'm sorry.
just all right.
Did you ask me how I'm doing?
Yeah, I asked you how you were.
I'm doing good. It rained. It's raining, I guess, and I slept well because of it. We've got Maya down here. She's calm because it's raining. It's one of those days where you don't want to leave the house, and luckily I work from home, so
It's a vibe.
yeah.
It's a vibe. Well, I had a tennis match this
Hold
morning.
on. I'm sorry. I just realized you never said. I said that I don't think I've ever called you or you've ever called me a good friend. But you know what I have never done? I've never asked you how you were doing on a podcast. So how are you doing, Bruni?
I feel awful. I'm not gonna lie. Thank you for asking. I've needed to let this out.
Bruni's one of those guys where you in passing say how are you, and he just empties his life on your lap.
Just
you go, hey, how are you? And you're expecting a good, and this dude just like sulks.
like, oh well, I'm glad you asked. Actually,
Yeah, I'm doing terrible. Do you have a few minutes of your time to sit here and listen to me?
No, man. No, I wouldn't. I told you this off air. I wouldn't play tennis for 2 hours this morning. And, it's just, I'm not as young as I used to be. Well, it doesn't help. I played last night, and then I played this morning. So with like a 12-hour break in between.
You just say you're not as young as you used to be?
I'm not as young as I used to be.
You know, like the peak of a human's 28, right? So you have at least 4 years.
Yeah, but that's if you keep in physical, I don't know.
Trying to tell me you haven't. If you want to compare pictures of freshman you versus pictures of you now,
it's true.
Yeah, let's not even try to make it look like those are the same people.
Anyways, I have some Halloween decorations up behind me for those listening on the podcast.
You gonna dress up?
No.
Yeah, nothing planned this weekend outside of football.
I will be watching football. It's on Saturday, right? No, Sunday, Monday.
What are you talking about?
When is Halloween?
Monday.
Oh, it's on Monday. I'll see. I mean, I got invited to a couple,
Yeah, a couple things,
events, a couple
here and there,
couple events, but we'll see if I bless them with my presence or not.
I'm going to a family Halloween party of Norma's, and I'm gonna be dressed up as Mustard. White t-shirt or yellow t-shirt, the Heinz mustard thing on it.
Is Norma
painted yellow? She's gonna be ketchup.
Okay.
And then Maya is gonna be a hot dog.
Ranch? Oh, a hot.
Yeah, we got this costume, and it's like for a large dog, 80 pounds, and it doesn't go around her, so like it just kind of goes on like a cape.
Okay, that's good. I thought you were.
It's a family party.
Good.
You can't do anything
that's
crazy.
Good. That's good.
Little
I'm pretty
children.
sure. No, that is good. That is good. The last time I dressed up for Halloween, and I promise y'all, we will talk about something football related on this podcast in like a minute. But last time I dressed up for Halloween, I was Manu Ginobili, Manu jersey, and I had
that's a good one.
And I taped the bald spot right here. I just cut out a piece of white paper.
You should have committed to the bit and just shaved it. Shaved it.
And just put the tape the bald spot right here, and then walked around with the basketball. And that was last time. That was high school.
Halloween. Last question about Halloween. That's the last time you dressed up was high school?
Yes.
That's
crazy. And that was for a party. I didn't even go trick-or-treating or nothing.
I guess I haven't gone trick-or-treating since like 6th grade. But anyways, the last thing I was gonna say, did you have like a costume growing up that you were like every year? Because mine was ninjas. I was a ninja for like, I want to say 6 years, and my parents wanted me to be something different, so they got me a SpongeBob costume. And I cried. I bawled my eyes out. I was like, I do not want to go. I was like, where's the ninja costume? I want to be a ninja, damn it.
Well, when I was really young, we did, my brother and I did Woody and Buzz. So we had that dynamic for a bit. And then we just started dressing up as like scary things. Like we'd buy the mask and like the big black robe or whatever it was, and like just walk around like with like a scream mask or something.
Yeah.
Very intimidating. 9-year-old me.
Yeah.
Walking around with the scream mask and just a black gown.
9-year-old looking 5-year-old. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, exactly. So, all right, that's it. 5 minutes of just nonsense.
Yeah.
We're sorry if you had to skip through that, but
Time to
if
move on to something else that's scary. Western
honestly,
Kentucky. You know what I mean?
yeah, that's a good transition right there, Colin.
It is.
That's really good. You should
Yeah.
get a raise for that. North
Raising
Texas plays
exposure.
raise exposure. North Texas faces Western Kentucky at 2:30 p.m. Central Time on the road tomorrow on Saturday, and I will be locked in on Stadium because LSU does not play. I have
Locked
nothing
in
else to do
on
tomorrow.
stadium.
It is on Stadium. Uh, in theory, it's a big game here, right? North Texas is 3-1,
Is it?
but okay, hold on. We always talk about this game being important from a overarching standpoint. I think if we look at this at a more micro level
Micro.
this time, I think this game is important for a team that is 3-1 and looking to, if you this is basically if you win this game, you control your own destiny for the conference championship game, right? If you lose it, Western Kentucky's probably going to make it because Western
Yeah.
just beat UAB, right? So this is de facto semifinal for the Conference USA championship game. Like if we want to break it
This is
down
the
that
de
way,
facto biggest game of the season.
I didn't want to say it, but
The
when you
last the last biggest game of the season. How many do we
when you
have?
put it like that,
How
it's the
many
biggest game of the year.
we had? UTEP, SMU, UNLV,
Memphis to a degree.
Memphis, and then UTSA.
All of
Wow.
them. All of them. But again, this works as like a semifinal of sorts. And obviously, even if North Texas wins, they'd have to, probably come close to beating UAB
Well, they'd have to beat UAB because
or else it'd
Western
be
has
tied
Charlotte,
again.
Rice, and FAU left.
Whew, all right. So Western's not losing anymore.
Yeah.
Um,
And by the way, they have Auburn just kind of sprinkled in there for some reason. I don't know why.
SEC teams love late games against
Conference USA teams.
non-SEC teams. Like LSU plays UAB, Auburn plays Western, so it's just how it goes. But real quickly, we're not gonna dive deep into Western. We've told y'all this before. This is not the nitty gritty that we used to be back in 2018. Western Kentucky, though, I can tell you this: the advanced stats love them, and
Yeah.
I can just tell you that I watched some of the game against UTSA. Really good win from UTSA to pull that out. We knew UTSA was a good team already, but like for Western Kentucky coming in at 5-3, only losses are to Indiana in overtime, which I believe, just off the top of my head, I believe that was a game they could have or should have won. They lost to Troy by 7, and Troy is a very, very, very good team. And then lost to UTSA by 3. So it's like all of these losses are by single scores.
Yeah.
And then they, beat UAB, beat Middle, so on and so forth. So, anyways, the advanced stats love Western Kentucky, and all I will say is that I use a site called CFB Graphs. Okay, I really trust them in a lot of what they do, advanced stats wise. They do the stat called EPA, right?
Yeah,
And
you've mentioned this stat quite a bit.
good. Okay, just want to make sure we're on the same page. I get my podcast confused. I'm not gonna lie to you because I mentioned it on the LSU pod.
Use all for all the podcasts.
Western Kentucky is ranked 13th in the country in overall EPA. Just the whole equation. They put
What's
it in
EPA
there.
stand for, just for everyone?
Estimated points added. Okay.
Okay.
So you have estimated points added per play, per game, rushing, passing, both sides of the ball. EPA, they are 13th in the country. Now, is it the most like it's not going to match up with the AP top 25, obviously, if you go down it, but still, Ohio State's 1, Georgia 2, Michigan 3, USC 4, Alabama 5, Tennessee 6, go down the list, and then it's Western Kentucky.
Question:
Like,
are you able to take away the FIU game?
No.
Like how
So
much
that- that-
I want to know how
I
much
think-
that's affecting this.
I believe, yes, the strength of schedule, I'm sure boosted them up as far as that one goes, but still, it's a 5-3 team. And I think more than anything is they're not number 1. They're not top 10. I don't think they're not even top 20 in any category. Or they're 20th in one category, but they're not top 19 in any category here, but they're all in the 20s to 30s and 40s. Like they're just really, really good across the board. Like
Yeah.
if we look at offensively, they're 30th in passing. I like 34th per game, 38 per play basis. Like it's just a really solid team. And they are eighth. No, I'm sorry, they're 20th in EPA defense per game. So, anyways, it's a long-winded way of saying they're very good.
Yeah.
And although I don't think they are as good as UTSA, which was proven when they lost to them, there's a reason why North Texas is a 10-point underdog here. And I don't feel as good about them covering in this game as I did against UTSA. Like, it just doesn't feel the same to me.
Yeah, and I think that's partly because Western's not injured like UTSA was, and they were still those 10-point favorites. So this is a team that is coming off a win against UAB. Obviously, that's North Texas's next opponent, and they have no excuses that we could have given UTSA if North Texas had won the game, by a significant margin. We could have been like, oh, the defense had injuries, or oh this, oh that. Western's at full strength, and they have a good quarterback. They have good receivers, and most of all, they have a good defense, only allowing 22 points per game. And I think that this team is more prepared in terms of there's no holes that North Texas is going to be able to exploit here. I don't think.
Yeah. You want to know a fun fact here?
Sure.
Western Kentucky played. How many games in a row did they play at home? 1, 2. Okay, no, never mind. They played last week at home. They play this week at home. Then they play road, home, road, road to end the season. Yeah, I don't. I think North Texas is going to have to, if you are going to compete in this game, is you're just going to have to dictate it with the run. Like, it's not even.
I mean, you're going to have to do what you did to UTSA last game, right? You're going to have to make it ugly.
Well, the thing is, last game, yes, they made it ugly. It was very ugly, but they also couldn't run the ball last week, and that was the biggest difference. Was that they end the game with 20 rushing yards or something like that. They had none in the first half. I don't think you get away with that. The same way against Western Kentucky,
because you're relying on you relied on your defense against UTSA there.
Exactly, and you relied on Austin Ani, who eventually threw a pick and wasn't perfect. You have to get back to running the ball. That's the biggest thing for me. Is if they have another stinker on the ground, I can't see this game being close. Like, Western Kentucky will punish you across the board. So, UAB lost its quarterback against Western Kentucky, so I do feel like mentioning that for those who maybe don't know. So maybe there is a little asterisk in that win, but regardless, Western Kentucky is going to be very prepared. I thought, like I said, I was impressed with how they played against UTSA and Indiana this year. So, North Texas has to run the ball and has to be efficient. And at the end of the day, Colin, we've said it time after time, it's avoiding the catastrophic errors. Yeah. That's what it is. There are no pick sixes, no kickoff return for touchdowns against these good teams. Like Memphis, you already lost that game because of however many pick sixes. And, just FAU, you had a pick six. You go down the list. There's a bunch of pick sixes this year. As long as Austin Ani doesn't revert to that, I think they can compete if they can run the ball. If they can't run the ball and Austin Ani reverts back to what he was, then it could be a long day. And it's on the road. I just don't like going on the road to Western is very different from going on the road to UTSA. I feel like they're comfortable in San Antonio in that dome to a degree.
Well, it's that saying that anything can happen in a rivalry game, no matter how good or bad each team is, right? And that's what that definitely was. Whereas this is this almost feels like it's going to be a harder game, even if UTSA, whether you agree with me or not, is the better team. You're going to a place where you don't play them. If in the past you didn't play them every year, you're playing a team that is still really good and they're at full strength, and there's not that familiarity between rivals. Like, you're not going there like, oh yeah, there's not that edge. Like, you don't have that extra edge. Obviously they want to win, but you don't have that rivalry edge where it's like you hate them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, you think of the games, like the last two games we've been pretty much spot on with La Tech and UTSA, right? UTSA, I was like, I think they're going to cover the spread. I think they'll keep it close, yada, 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 just because they were beat up. This game, the confidence is not there. This game feels a lot, and obviously I don't think it's the same caliber, maybe not, but this feels like the SMU game to a degree, where it's just like, I don't believe at this moment
Well, there's
that
no
they're capable of
we
winning this.
you went into the UT, and I said UTSA was going to be a blowout, but I was wrong. But you were right, and you said that was because UTSA had the holes on their team. They
Yeah.
had the injuries. They had all these things that they had to try to overcome against a North Texas team that we've said time and time again that finally doesn't have injuries for once in their life. So now like you said, you're going against a Western team that's at full strength, and it just how can North Texas break Western? And I don't see a way. I mean, you wanted them to rely on the rushing game. They only allow 134 rush yards a game. And if that's the case and that holds up, you have to rely on Austin Aune. And yeah, stats on paper, because I was just looking, 20 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, that looks all fine. But when however many of those, almost half of them are pick sixes, you can't win games that way. And if you have to rely on him to carry you throughout the game, I don't think that's going to be possible. I just don't.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how Western Kentucky's defense comes out, how they guard, Jair Shorter and Rod Burns on maybe some of those deeper routes, because Ani was perfectly fine finding Gums and Roberts. I know Roberts only had a couple catches last week, but Gums especially on some of those shorter routes or intermediate routes. So we've said it time and time again, this team has weapons.
Yeah.
I mean, now that they have Gums, you have Gums, Roberts, Shorter, Burns, Bush. Like,
Yeah, you have guys, and I want to be clear too. I don't think that Ani is just going to lay an egg, but you can't only rely on him to get you your offense, because we've seen that once they have to do that, that's when he breaks down. He needs to be comfortable, and he needs to at least have the defense give him something, because if the defense knows it's going to be passed every time, it's going to be a bad day.
He's just too inconsistent. And we saw in the UTSA game, he had some great throws, and then you'd have stretches where you're just like,
what's happening?
This is unacceptable. Like,
yeah,
you need to find a better quarterback. So it's just too inconsistent. You need the run game. You need Attaway to get going. You need these 4 running backs to get going. It's almost like I want Seth to force his will on the ground. Like, don't even give up on it at any point, unless if obviously Western goes up like 3 scores. But
I mean, we've seen that before though, and it doesn't always go well.
Yeah, but I mean, I think they just have to at this point. I don't want to get in a throwing contest with Western Kentucky at all here. So overarching though, you think it's like big picture wise, macro, looking at it in the macro and everything?
We swap to macro. I like it.
I love saying that. Yeah, swapping to the macro a little bit. You think it's a big game for this team, this program, this coach?
I like the mic. Okay, I'm stopping with the micro macro now. We're removing that from the podcast. It's banned. I like the trying to think about it more as like what it is for the team as opposed to what it is for the legacy / job / whatever of Seth in terms of the program. Yeah. But I think that the game is important in that sense. But I think that, and I said this last podcast, I think it's the door's closed. I think that there's nothing else you can do. And that was why all the other games were the biggest games of the week, right? Or the biggest games thus far, is because they had that effect. Whereas now I think you can win this game. You could win, UAB, whatever. I think that you've shown that you can win. You win in ways. Sorry, what's the way I want to word this? They haven't won in ways where that you overcome something throughout a game. You know what I mean? Like when you think of the big wins in North Texas history, Arkansas is one. That team was awful, and they didn't have to fight for that. I mean, obviously it was a great win. Like, I'm not trying to but I'm saying that the very big wins have never been fought out in my mind. I mean, you think of the drive with UTSA.
I'm sure I could think of a couple.
You can think of a couple, but the ones that hurt, I should say. You know what I mean? Like the ones that
I think. Sorry to cut you off.
No, I mean, I could be wrong here.
I'll try to help your point here. It feels like when this team needs to come together and win a game, or needs to come together, overcome things, you think about all those moments that have happened, those close games. And I mean, I'm not going to sit here and do the math in my head. I just know against the spread numbers are not good. The record since the La Tech block field goal is not good.
Yeah. I guess that's the way I would want to phrase it, like you are. Yeah. Keep going.
Whenever that happens, I remember the losses a lot more than any wins. And again, maybe that's wrong, but it just feels like whenever they get the wins, it's like the Texas Southern, UTEP.
Well, yeah, it's like you get that
every
momentum,
year.
right? You almost get. It's almost like we're being gaslit into thinking the team is going to be great a certain year. You know, it's like you rattle off some wins on teams that early are supposed to be really good, right? And then you look back, and I know someone on I think someone on Twitter said that it's not fair to look back, but when you do look back, it's like, what did you actually do? You know what I mean? Like with the talent that you had,
And
and,
I and living, yeah, and I definitely want to. We can live in the moment and praise teams and look
yeah,
back
of
on them and
course.
think something else. I mean, it's at the end of the day, it's like you can't lose by 38 to SMU. You know, you can't lose by 30 to UNLV. You can't lose that Memphis game when you play pretty well. And the UTSA game would have been nice to pull that one out too. Again, can you win a game when people aren't expecting you to win a game? The against the spread numbers are not good at all. The record as an underdog is pretty bad too. I'd have to update my my
I
spreadsheet,
remember that from last year.
but
That was crazy.
it was pretty bad.
Yeah.
So again, you're 10-point dogs going into Western Kentucky. Can you overachieve? Can you surprise people? Can you do more than just cover the spread? I would be impressed if they did cover the spread because I just don't think they will. But we'll see what they can do. Obviously, just covering it would not be sufficient at this point in this team's career because that would a loss. Let's remember, a loss drops them to 4-5,
Yeah.
and then as much as we want to pencil in like FIU win, of course.
Oh yeah.
Not even,
But
not even
Rice and UAB,
Rice and UAB are legitimate teams.
yeah.
Legitimate teams. And so, as much as we want to say 5-5 going into the last two games, all you got to do is get a split. Remember in 2019, whenever that team was 4-6,
Yep.
and we were like, well, you just got to beat Rice and then UAB at the end of the year.
And I think that's the thing that you were talking about earlier. You need to. This team hasn't won the games that they're supposed to win, and they haven't overcome when they needed to.
They've won the easy games.
Well, I mean, in the sense that when you think of that 2019 season, they should have beat Rice. They should have beat whoever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like they haven't UNLV this year.
Yeah, I mean, well, so yeah, from an overall perspective, I don't think it really changes too much here, barring some outlier performance that nobody in the world sees where they just beat them 45-10.
So if they do something crazy like that, we'll say 45-20 something or whatever. Is a big picture for you? Is there anything? Because I shut the door last week, but you
I
didn't
have
really
not shut the door.
But I was gonna say you didn't give your.
I don't think the last 4 games. I mean, I think the last 4, like Western, I don't really think is winnable, but at the same time, would it shock me if they won? No, I don't think Western's like a
world beater. Yeah,
world beater. Like it's not SMU. So, but after that, they could win the last 3, get the 7-5, and win a bowl game, 8-5. I think that gets him his job back. So, but do I think that's likely to happen? No. So I'm with you in spirit.
Yeah.
The door's
okay, but you said
a little
the way you worded that, you said you think it gets him his job back. In your eye, if you were all knowing and decided the fate of the team, if you went 8-5, would you say, okay, let's do it again? If it were you deciding, making the decision,
5 with a bowl win. Obviously, I mean that includes a bowl win. Yeah, I think so.
Okay,
I think so.
I mean, I guess I'd have to flip on that too. I was just curious what you had said before I said anything.
No. You can't flip on it. I asked you the same thing last podcast.
Did you?
Said no. I said if they go 8-4, or whatever it was, 8-5 or whatever, and would you do it? And you said no. So
I thought you said if they went and then they lost the bowl game.
Your door is closed.
No, I'm. It's good. It would take. They'd have to win every game by like 30 for me to be like, yep.
We're back.
Yep.
Get Seth back on the pod. Let's do it.
Oh yeah, I can't talk. Next time if Seth comes back and he's on a pod, I gotta dip. I'm busy that day.
You can't be fake. You gotta be. Yeah.
Look him in the eyes. Be like, listen, Seth.
It's not that serious. Not that serious. So, am I sunburned?
I don't know.
See this?
It's cool here. It's 50 degrees here.
There wasn't even any sun out when I was playing this morning, but
54.
you know what they say? Sometimes the overcast sun can be just as
do they say that?
Not deadly, but impactful as.
Are you a flat earther?
No, I'm serious. Somebody's told me that before.
Somebody has told me that. Somebody.
Yeah,
overcast sunburn.
Probably Probably, some girl that like, listens to star signs and is like, I'm a Libra, and so, probably
Is
that
it
type of.
possible to get sunburn on a cloudy day? A person can still get
It
sunburn on a
is.
cloudy day. A high percentage of ultraviolet light emitted by the sun penetrates through clouds. People should still try to. But that's like medicalnewstoday.com. Like that's not even like.
Are you saying you don't believe science? That's crazy. All right, we
But I don't
have
know. This seems like one of those sites where you click on it and it looks like a blog. Oh, never mind. This is a real site. Okay. Okay.
Colin
Okay.
doesn't believe in science.
Colin doesn't believe in science. Listen, never mind.
I don't know. I just feel kind of burnt.
Anyways, we got to do our props.
Yeah, we gotta do props and predictions. Need like a little overlay whenever this pops up, like props and predictions. You know what I mean?
I guess. What was that?
You don't do a countdown?
30-second countdown.
It allows us to get our
And music and everything. Damn it. That was crazy. Okay. That threw me off hard.
That threw you off. All right, do you have any props available right now?
Sure, let's do it.
Got some.
Over under 1.5 picks, Austin Nani.
I am worried they're going to be playing from behind a lot more this game, and he will be throwing it around. He had one pick against UTSA that was awful. Awful might be a strong word. Not good. I'll say over.
I'm going to go over as well. Dang it.
Yeah.
Next one.
I forget to write these down. Hold on.
Okay, I'll wait.
North Texas podcast. Okay, go ahead.
Over under 120 rushing yards for North Texas.
Over.
I'm going to go under.
See.
Now you got to give me one.
Over. Pay both over. All right. I got one for you. Here's a different one. Austin Ani, 0.5 over under 0.5 rushing touchdowns.
Under.
All right, I'll take the over.
No way. That's you trying to get back some points. I respect it, but that's not a good one to do it with.
I think he rushes. I think they punches one in somehow.
Somehow, huh?
Something happens.
Anytime I've seen the design QB run it, it makes me want to throw it in my mouth.
Just wait. All right, let's do a Western Kentucky one here. Let's see what we got. All right. Over under 299 passing yards.
For them?
Yep, they averaged 317 on the season.
Man. That's so many. I'll go under.
All right, I'll go over.
Okay, you can just score prediction now. Spread's 10, over under 70. I don't think it gets close to that.
You don't think the points? You think it's the under?
I think it's the under.
You want me to bet it for you out of unity?
I mean, you can bet it, but bet your own money and keep it if it wins, if that's what you're saying.
Yes.
Let's go with 34, sorry. Right?
34. Okay,
34. 20 North 34-20 Western.
Okay. I have a bad feeling.
Oh no.
I've alluded to this throughout the podcast. I have a bad feeling. I think Western Kentucky puts up a lot of points here.
Oh no.
I think Western Kentucky puts up 40 and wins the game 42-24.
Wow.
I don't think it's I worry about this defense being a break, don't bend type defense, and I think Western can break it.
Okay.
So there you go. All right. That's the podcast. 30 minutes in and out. Well, 5 minutes of us talking about Halloween, but that's okay. We hope y'all enjoyed the episode. We will be back on either Saturday night or Sunday morning to recap the game and give our thoughts
Saturday
after.
we'll be at that family party, so you know.
All right, we will be back Sunday morning to recap the game. Colin will be hungover. It will be a great
No,
time.
no. When I say this is family party, I mean like toddlers everywhere.
Niños?
Like, huh?
Niños.
Yes, yes.
I got yeah. Anyways, all right. That's all we have for y'all this week. We hope y'all enjoyed it. And yeah, we'll talk to y'all later.